Hello everybody, this is ReMeter Plus. For some years now we've been carrying this particular product ReMeter, and for most of our customers it helps them in managing their prepaid units, prepaid meter, especially for those of them that are sharing prepaid meter. So today we want to introduce you to another version of ReMeter. So we call this ReMeter Plus. ReMeter Plus because of course it does everything ReMeter currently is doing and more. And this video I'm just going to be highlighting a number of things you are able to do with ReMeter Plus. So first and foremost, ReMeter Plus comes with internet connectivity. Now, our old meter, our previous current ReMeter uses a remote control for presetting units on the meter. With ReMeter Plus, the meter is always online. This guy here has a SIM card inserted into it that brings it online. So you are able to communicate and talk with your meter from anywhere you could, you might be in the world. Take for example, just right now, I have this meter powered hub, so connected to incoming AC. It also connects to a DC source, so I'll come back to that. And this is what it looks like on my mobile phone. So I can control everything here. For example, simply tapping that button brings up the load. So this load could be what I have in my apartment or anything, and I can tap the button again to shut everything down. So the idea behind the ReMeter Plus is we want to do metering, but we want to do more. Take for example, we've had a number of clients talks about how they want to have ReMeter used in their inverter. For example, if you were to install inverter as a service for your customer and you want them to be paying you monthly or based on what they use, you need a way to meter them, and you need a way to be able to access even such meter remotely. Perhaps you want to give them units, or you want to set some time for when their subscription will expire. With ReMeter Plus, you are able to do all that. As well as that, when you install inverter for people as a service, you also want to be able to access the health of your batteries. How are they using my battery? How much load are they putting on the inverter? ReMeter Plus takes care of that. So in this video we are just going to go over those features one after the other. And the first one I've talked about, of course, is the fact that you can remotely control things. Maybe you have a dispute with your customer. For the people that are installing inverters, for example, you want to shut them down for whatever reason. You simply open your ReMeter Plus app and tap a button, you power them on. Tap a button, you shut them down. It's as simple as that. So in addition to that, you are also able to monitor the health and the statistics coming from your inverter. Take for example, what I have in here says battery 12.29 volts, and that is because two of these cables on the left side of the ReMeter actually goes to a battery. So you are able to see the health of your battery from anywhere you are. Then how much voltage is the inverter currently generating? So these, I have 231 volts here, telling you I have a 231 volt coming over this line into the ReMeter. So the ReMeter is able to gate that input AC to the output on this other side. So when you tap power on, power off, of course the ReMeter is simply getting the AC coming in here to the load. So if you have the output of your inverter connected here and you have this going to the household you have installed your inverter for, or the household you have the ReMeter Plus running on, you can easily just flip things on and off from anywhere you might be. So that is the first feature I want to talk about. Now the second feature is metering. You see, a number of times especially for the inverter people again, you don't want, when I'm subscribing to, let's say, inverter as a service from you, I could say, all I have in my house is a load of 500 watts, and so because of that you go ahead, you probably set me up with a 1 kVA inverter and all. But how do you make sure I don't exceed my quota? I mean, since I'm requesting for 500 watts, you don't want them to put more than 500 watt load on it, because that is what you're billing them based on. So ReMeter Plus allows you to set a limit on the load they can put. So if you look at the load line in here, currently it's telling me I have a load of 0.67 watts and my limit is 500 watts. So if you want to set a limit load on this ReMeter Plus, all you have to do is tap this scissors button here that says set maximum load. So when I tap that, it simply asks me to enter the maximum load I want to preset the ReMeter for. So if I just say, okay, I don't want this person to be putting more than 200 watt load on my inverter, so put 200 there and okay, and that is all it takes. So that 200 watts is set on the meter now. Anytime they put a load more than 200 watts on it, the ReMeter Plus is going to disconnect the appliance. That means it's going to disconnect the apartment rather for a period of 5 seconds, then it will reset itself back. So now currently I have a bulb that is rated about 60 watts there. So if I turn on this meter now there, so the load I have here, if you wait for it for a while, you'd see this 0.52 watts shown here is going to change. So just wait for that for a while. So you see now it's saying 70.68 watts. So that is the load I have on the ReMeter Plus currently. So, and I've set a limit of 200 watts. So if this load were to exceed 200 watts, the system will disconnect. Now, just for a test, say I now go ahead, I set a maximum load of 60 watts, given that I have about 70 watts indicated in there right now, and I okay. So what you're going to see is, you see, it's shut down, because now it's saying, well, the meter, the load you have has exceeded the limit. So it will come back up. After coming back up, it says the load is still more than 60 watts. It's shut down again. So that is the load protection feature. So I'm just going to reset that back to 200 watts so that the load can remain on. Okay, so that is it for the power limit feature. Then also some people prefer that their customers, they should pay like the same way you pay for a prepaid meter. I mean, take for example, you buy a token of 5 units. The moment you exceed, I mean, you finish that 5 units of quota, the meter should simply disconnect you. So if you want to do that, you first of all need to enable prepaid on the meter. So this button says turn prepaid on. So once you turn prepaid on, let's say I do that, I turn the prepaid on. So the moment it's turned on, if I attempt, now notice that the meter balance says 0 watt hour. So the implication here is, since the prepaid is now enabled, if I go ahead and I say the system should come on, it will not come on because the unit balance is now 0. So in order for the meter to come on, I will have to vend it. And vending it is you coming to this button here. You see that button says vend. So vend the meter. So I can say, okay, maybe the customer has paid for a unit of say 20 units. So vend it with 20 watt hour. I mean, that will be 0.02 units actually. So vend it with 20 watt hour, and that is it. So once vended, the system comes on. So you will, if you now notice, this 20 watt hour is going to be used gradually. If I stay on this screen for a while, you'd observe that this 20 watt hour will be reducing gradually, and the moment it hits 0, the system shuts down again until you come back to your portal and you vend that customer. So the moment they finish whatever you vend them with, they simply get disconnected. So that is the prepaid feature. As well as that, we have we also have the schedule feature. There are some customers that would rather prefer that instead of there are some people that would rather prefer, instead of giving their customer a certain number of units, they want to set a time for the customer. Let's say I disable prepaid first, so I'm turning off that prepaid feature. I shut down the lightning for now. Okay, so if for example I now want to say maybe this customer is paying monthly, they always pay maybe on the first day of the month, so I can set a shutdown date for them. So with this approach, you disable prepaid, then you set a shutdown date. So you are telling the meter to keep powering the apartment until certain date is reached. So if I say set shutdown date, So I'm going to be asked to pick a date. So if I come in here now, I can say, okay, let's say today is July 18. I'm going to keep that. I just want this thing to shut down in the next 1 minute. So that's 4:16. So set it at 4:16. So set it at 4:16. And the one set at 4:16, okay, let's say I now power it on. So you can see it's telling me now that shutdown is enabled. So as at 16:16, the system is going to shut itself down, and that is it. So you can see the time on my phone now, it's 16:16. The system automatically shut itself down. So until you come back to it and you instruct that the system should come on again, or you set a new time on it. So that is another feature in here. As well as that, we also have a very good integration with it, because a number of times you probably just don't want to be coming to your mobile app to do every little things. We actually expose this to a Telegram bot. I mean, as a matter of fact, you can chat with this guy from Telegram. WhatsApp feature is also available, so I'm going to use Telegram for this. So there is a bot on Telegram you can use for that. So if I come on this bot and I just start by sending the prompt smart point, so you see now it's giving me a list of devices I have access to. So I want to choose one of, so this particular one we're using for demo is this PAYG demo, meaning pay as you go demo. So I tap 1 in front of it. So once I do that, it's now asking me select an action to perform on this demo, and I want to say, okay, I want to power it on. So I tap power on, and just like that, the apartment gets powered. Then I can go back to it to power it down again. I can say, okay, power it off now. So, and just like that, it's just going to go off again. Okay, so as well as that, you can also do a countdown. There are some times you just perhaps maybe, I mean, just imagine a scenario where I have this ReMeter Plus installed for maybe some kind of appliances in the house that I think I may forget to turn them off myself. So I can set a countdown on it by saying, okay, let's say for a start I power it on. So I'm going to start by powering the device on. So power it on. So then I'll come back to the same device and I'll say set a countdown on it. So I choose countdown this time around. Then so it's asking me how long do you want to time it for. So let's say I just want to time this thing for 15 seconds. So what I'm doing here is after 15 seconds the system is going to shut itself down. So the time, I mean the countdown begins, and in 15 seconds it's shut down. In the same manner, you can also check the status of the device. If I choose that one again, and I choose get status, so get status is going to give you the status of everything in here. So the status is active, the electrical voltage, the current on it, the current load on this, so on and on like that. This device is still in the preview stage, so this is the very first version of it, and we're just sharing this video with you, so just so to get your feedback, to pique your interest. I mean, we want to know, is this something you'll be interested in? Because we would like to actually have a solution like this that does exactly the same thing as ReMeter is doing, only that you will be able to access it online. Then for some users too, there is another feature I'd like to show us. If you happen to have, maybe you have your own website, you have your own web service, and you just like to have access to the data coming from ReMeter, so you can do that by coming to the edit button here, then go to settings. Now once you are in settings, find webhook. So tap on webhook, then tap the plus button under the webhook. So this allows you to set an HTTP web. I mean, if you have a web server, you'd understand what I'm saying better here. It that how do you want us to communicate the data coming from ReMeter to you over a GET or a POST request, and then you enter the URL of your website in here, and if you want to have some kind of basic authorization so that you know the data is coming from us, place your authorization key in here. So once that is set up, every time your meter sends a data over to our web server, we relay that information over to you so you can handle it in your own way. So as well as that, there are triggers and alarms you can set up. Like if you come under alarm, so you can set up an alarm. For example, I say I want to add a new alarm, so what's the name of the alarm? Set a trigger. A typical alarm might be maybe when my battery is below a certain voltage, I want the system to send me an email. When my battery is more than certain voltage, I want the system to send me an email or even a telegram or WhatsApp message to that effect. So all these are available, and I mean they are very much working, and that's the advantage that ReMeter Plus currently have over ReMeter. While this is okay for people that are not interested in internet connectivity and remote connections and control, this is fine. But if you want more, especially for people that does inverter installation as a service, yes, this was actually made initially for them. But I mean, we can imagine a number of other useful things you can do with this. So I mean, if you're interested in this, let's talk about it. This is ReMeter Plus. Thank you for watching.